Hello everyone, welcome back to my kitchen. I'm Valmore. So today from Hero's Feast, I'm going to be making a dish that is probably very commonly seen with just about every dwarven meal. This bread makes an appearance as a simple snack eaten during the day, as well as a common bread served with just about any meat dish to soak up any kind of gravy or sauce that's left over. This is Dwarven Flatbread. Let's get started. So to get my dough started, I am going to start with flour, baking soda, baking powder, salt, and some dried herbs. In this case, I'm using za'atar seasoning, which is a mixture of thyme, oregano, sesame seed, lemon peel, so it gets a nice little herby, a little bit of citrusy flavor added to it. And I'm just going to whisk all that together. And now, after making a bit of a well in the middle, I'm going to add olive oil and Greek yogurt, and I'm going to mix that in until the wet and dry ingredients are well incorporated. Now I'm going to scoop the dough out onto a floured surface, and I am just going to knead it into a ball. And now I'm going to take that and I'm going to divide it into 8 pieces. And now I'm just going to turn these into little balls. Being careful not to handle them too much. I'm just going to cover those and let them rest for about 15 minutes. Now, after letting those sit for 15 or so minutes, I'm going to roll them out. And now I'm just going to toss my flatbread into the pan. I'm just going to cook that up until it gets brown and it puffs up just a little bit. So dwarves are as common in fantasy as elves are. They're not an unheard of or unrecognizable race. Everyone who's read a fantasy book or played a fantasy game knows what a dwarf is. They're generally short and stout humanoids. In D&D, the tallest ones get to about 4 feet, and they weigh a lot. They're very dense, they're very stout, weighing probably almost as much as a human that's 2 feet taller than them. And they are often considered some of the best blacksmiths in the land, capable of making the most beautiful and intricate masterpieces, as well as some of the most powerful magic weapons and armor. They take great pride in the works that they make. Every piece is a labor of love. It displays every ounce of their skill and the power that they put into it, whether that be something as simple as cutlery or as complex as a magic suit of armor. This tends to lead to the smiths spending long hours at the forges, and they needed to be able to eat something without having to stray too far from the work that they were doing. So these industrious dwarves would keep flour, salt, oil around and use that to make these flatbreads in the forge. These were absolutely delicious, and I was very excited for this recipe since I read through it, since the beginning of me getting this book. It's not too hard to make, it's not too messy. I can definitely see myself making this again frequently, just because of how simple and how quickly I threw it together. I wouldn't change a whole lot with the recipe. I might try a few things to try and get maybe some bigger ones or some thicker ones, because other than that, this had a wonderful flavor. It was crispy around the edges, and it puffed up just enough to have a nice airy middle. And I'm envisioning the dwarf smith making this, putting a little oil on the forge, tossing a ball on that, and just smacking it down with a hammer and letting that go for a couple minutes while they finish up something. I'm imagining, like you or I might take a lunch to work, the smith walking in with a dozen or so of these little pre-made dough balls and just eating them throughout the day. I hope you enjoyed. You can follow me on Instagram or Twitter at chef_Valmore. The links will be in the description of the video. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and come on back next week for another recipe.